Good afternoon and happy Friday to all of you awesome people out there. Today was a pretty good day to end the week. We're going to walk through every single trade that I took to end the week on an awesome green note despite the slower market. Now, today was pretty good. It started out pretty slow. We were able to stay picky and actually capitalize and end the week on an amazing note. Now, if I do sound a little bit different today, I am a little bit under the weather, but still made it happen. That's the beauty of trading because even when we're sick, I can still click some buttons and make some money. So you started the day out, and I was watching a few things in the market open, primarily CRML, GWH, and SLE, which you can see on my pre-market little notepad here. And it's like, all right, I was watching those into the bell, and they looked pretty good. I didn't really get any trades in SLE today because you came into the open, and this thing just gave back almost instantly. This thing just fade. I was wanting to play this if it got breaking back to the upside up through VWAP and see if we could get a retest of the highs towards 6, but never got going. It just kept on fading after the bell. No clear direction, so left it alone. Then, of course, was also watching GWH, which I made some money on, but this also just faded left and right after the bell. Was able to play this little move back to VWAP. But what we've been seeing lately is this consistent cycle of your leading gappers just fading into market open. You know, they make a big move in pre-market, but there's just nothing to play on them after market open. And so then you're sort of stuck with your hands behind your back because nothing is moving at market open. Everything makes a move in pre-market, then it just sells off out of the bell. And so I had a little trade on this today where we finally broke over the moving averages. You can see here, this thing pulled back and you're stuck in this downtrend pretty much all morning. It opened up and it was just heavy underneath VWAP. And so it finally reclaims. You can see it puts in place a lower low here, but then finally puts in place this higher low. Breaks a little bit higher, puts in place a higher low, and I'm able to play it for a little win here back up to VWAP. Nothing crazy. I think at this point, and I don't really love this setup. This is a B-class setup at most. And the only reason why I traded this, I think, in my eyes, is because nothing else is really moving. It's so slow. It was really so slow. This was not a bad setup necessarily, a really base hit style setup. Got, what, 10 cents out of it? But one of those things where you do what you do with what you can, and that's just one of those things. Went on over to STAI next, and this thing was pretty nice. My only gripe with this, and I traded it pretty well, I actually captured it here from 72 cents all the way to 90 cents. My biggest gripe is the fact that this was a 40 million share float name. Now, that's typically a lot larger than I would like to trade. Typically, the stocks that I trade have a 10 million share float or less. That's my happy area. The reason why is because stocks with a 40 million share float or larger typically trade a little bit grindy. They're very wide in the way they trade. Very, you know how you put it, but it's very wide. Very have a lot of room to move is what I'm really trying to get at here. But nonetheless, we saw it break to the upside and hold off of VWAP well, so I was able to capture the move quite well here from 70 all the way to 90 cents. Then, of course, how did I know we had range to 90 cents? Well, you look at the daily time frame and see where we have this past daily high sitting off 85 cents. So we had room to 85 then to about $1 here. As we found sellers, or at least weakening buy pressure underneath $1, took my full profit off the high here at 90 cents, stepped back away from this. Then, of course, as it pulls back off of VWAP, I try to take a little scalp here for a curl back up into the highs. Of course, took a very small loss on this here, playing with some profits, and stepped away after it broke back to the downside beneath VWAP. I really wanted to see this. You can see it was consolidating here, stuck in this heavy consolidation. I wanted to try and play the upside here if it did confirm, but as you can see, it never really did. So very small there, but thankfully a big win here to start on that initial move. Now going on from there, we had ONMD, which looked pretty good. You can see here we have this sort of at least defined high off the previous high of day. Price pulls back after breaking above in a big way. It pulls back, consolidate, and they see it grab liquidity back off of VWAP. And see, we have this wick off of VWAP here where it tries to break lower. Instantly gets bought up off of VWAP, so I take the first candle to break to a new high here. And able to capture this again for a nice little base hit from 350 back to about 362. And so at this point, I'm pretty happy with this because, again, we took the break of the 1 minute candle. Look at this here. It breaks. I take it with a stop loss at the low and get a move here at about 362. So again, I'm pretty happy with this little base hit. But after this trade, I sat back for a good 30 minutes. This was the last trade that I took at 9:55, and then I sat back for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, just waited, and nothing was moving. I was watching STAI for most of the morning, waiting to see if we could get any plays over VWAP, but it never really set up for me. And so I watched it, and finally, the right setup came along on SGBX, and this was my biggest win of the morning here. This thing could not have been any better, and thankfully this happened because otherwise I would have been pretty small green today, but this actually turned my day around, and I was able to capitalize on this in a big way. So what happens here? Where we have this opening high, this triple top rejection. This is a massively relevant level here. And we have, of course, wick. It becomes an air supply. And so with that, able to use this as a pivot. So we have supply here. As price breaks above and pulls back and confirms off this pullback, this then becomes an area of demand. So, right, so supply becomes demand as price breaks, confirms above. And so able to take this here off the 1 minute pullback. Took it off the 1 minute pullback, risking off the low at 615. You can see here, bottom of the range, 615, a little bit loose. But from a about 637 entry. And I got to move here all the way to 686. And took a full profit. Now, could I have given it more time? Sure. But I saw a big seller stepping up underneath 7, and I said, let me just take my profits here and at least get some profits on the table, fill my pockets a little bit. And I was able to do that, right? Able to get some profits. They're locked in, as you can see. Played that very, very well. Happy. Super. So then this puts in place another range. Able to take it for another win. Look at this. So puts it in the top off the high. And we've got this defined range forming here. Look at this. Where we have this lower high to lower high, and then we have this lower low to lower low. Well, look at this. Price pulls back again. Wicks underneath that past low, confirming the reversal there of the hammer off the bottom. And so I take it risking off this bottom for the range back up into the top of its channel. And so I'm able to take it there for another nice little easy win from, as you can see, 676 back to the 690s, just like that. Yeah, so that's how I was able to play SGBX today to a T. This could not have been any prettier, could not have been any easier. I hesitated here. I didn't take this trade. I wanted to. But in my opinion, we're not really in a breakout type market. And so I hesitated a bit there. I didn't take it. I wish that I did. I wish I took it here. But it's just one of those things. I didn't take it. This was a great setup in hindsight. But that's really what it was, is hindsight. It's not really a market that I feel too comfortable taking a breakout in whenever we have these big wicks off the highs like this. So able to take pullbacks fairly well. But this breakout's not really my cup of tea right now. So that was the last trade of the day, and I was pretty happy with it. Again, 2 for 2 on SGBX, one of the best setups of the morning, really the most obvious setup of the morning. Really, really clean up with that late morning volume. But that being said, that pretty much sums up the morning. A really, 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 all things considered. Of course, market is slowly but surely heating up, and I'm hoping it does continue. Because today was pretty good. Today was very, very good. I'm very happy with it. And I'm hoping that next week we get some even better action. So, that being said, if you did learn something from this video, make sure to subscribe for daily content just like this. And, of course, make sure to claim your 7-day free trial in the description below to watch me trade stocks just like this in real time every single day and navigate a market like this and get alerts, education, chat room access, and so much more. And that being said, I will catch you in the next one and back on Monday for another awesome green day in the market.